in the message you're saying. Okay, what is that message? God says in another verse, فَاعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهُ وَاسْتَغْفِرْ لِذَنبِكَ. Know that there is no God worthy of worship except God. And so every single prophet had this message of the same message, which is believe in one God and worship Him, and believe in the prophets and the proofs that they brought from God that they are actual messengers and prophets. Does that concept make sense? Would you agree with that concept? Okay. And so therefore in Islam, it would be Moses, Jesus, Noah, Abraham. All of them are considered prophets. Now the question is, if there is a line of prophets, not necessarily by blood, but there is prophets one by one sent by God in order to guide people over thousands of years, then is there an end to this prophethood? So some of the evidences that God gave these prophets are books. We believe in the original Bible, which is the gospel. We believe in the gospel. We believe that it was sent down to Jesus, the son of Mary. We believe in Mary as well, Maryam. Okay, and also we believe that Moses received the Torah. This is the stuff that we believe in Islam. So this Torah and this gospel came from God by the messages in order to guide the people. But we believe that the Torah and the gospel were changed over time, which is factually proven as well. You know, that's why you have different versions of the gospel today, and you have, in essence, the Torah was changed as well. That the Quran has affirmed that. And so, if the previous scriptures has been changed, there's a need for a prophet to come and identify or clear up any confusion about what has been changed from the previous scriptures and the evidence from God. And this is this idea of the Prophet Muhammad, may peace and praise be upon him. Again, the same conditions have to be put on him as the previous prophets, which is, how valid is he, that he's come from God? And number two, is it the same concept that Abraham, Noah, Moses, and Jesus were preaching? So if that's the case, we have to return back to what? The thing he was sent by God, which is the evidence. Remember, we look at the evidence that they brought from God, and then we see, okay, does it agree with previous scriptures in regards to the main message, the main concept? And secondly is, what are the proofs of this person? And so we believe in all these prophets, or we believe the seal of the prophets is the Prophet Muhammad, may peace and praise be upon him. And we believe, not just that, we believe he was the best of prophets as well, because he's the last one, he's the seal. And so if he claims to be the best of prophets, then he has to have the best of proofs from God. Only logically. Again, we put the same conditions on him. So he has to prove it. And so that is why we believe the Quran is the best proof and evidence that was sent by God. It affirms what came before, that the gospel was sent down to Jesus, and that the Torah was sent down to Moses, but also identifies where it was changed as well. Or it identifies the fact that it was changed. It affirms that. Not just that, it brings its own proofs. And I'm going to give you a few now, especially what is related to modern science. My brother, he's not here today, but he's a beekeeper. Right? Literally, we have a hive in our garden. Okay. Now, God says in the Quran, He says, يَخْرُجُ مِنْ بُطُونِهَا شَرَابٌ مُخْتَلِفٌ أَلْوَانُهَا. He says that it comes from the bellies of the bees, honey. My brother, being a beekeeper, when he started researching it, he found a well-known fact we didn't know before, me and him, which is bees have two bellies. Bees have two bellies. One of them is used to digest the food, and the other is used to make honey. We say the Quran was given to Prophet Muhammad by God, to Prophet Muhammad, peace and praise be upon him, over 1400 years ago when he died. Before he died, it was given to him over 1400 years ago. How would he know this? It's from God. The proof that it was given from God. I'll give you another example. In the Quran, we have this concept that there are waves beneath waves. Within the ocean and the seas, there are waves beneath waves. And within the last 50 years, scientists have kind of proven that actually we don't just have waves that are at the top of the water bodies, but actually beneath them, lower down, places that humans can't see, there are never waves. And that's why you see in the movie Finding Nemo, I'm sure you've seen Finding Nemo, right? Very happy. You know when the turtle goes, it kind of joins the wave. You know the scene I'm talking about, and they're just like cool skating dudes. They're just like floating along. That's the same concept. So this was mentioned in the Quran over 1400 years ago. We also have the example of many examples in the Quran. For example, how the mountains are designed as pegs. The mountains, they come out and they're designed as pegs. And only recently, due to, I believe it's, what is it, geometry, but I forgot the science, which they found that actually there is more to a mountain underneath the ground than there is on top of the ground. How would we possibly know that as humans? We wouldn't know unless we have the infrastructure that we hid within the last 50 to 100 years. And these are all proofs. We could go on and on and on. Also, the linguistic sense of the Quran, in which, for someone like me, for example, an Arabic speaker, you cannot have anything similar to the Quran. We've gone. People have tried to understand the Quran for many years. No one's been able to bring even a verse like the Quran. And that's why God in the Quran, the God of Moses, the God of Jesus, the God of Muhammad, if he's a praise upon him, they said what? This God's in the Quran, he says, if you are truthful that this is not from God, then bring a whole chapter the same as it. In the book you're holding now. They weren't able to. The Arabs who were non-Muslim at the time, meaning they rejected the Prophet Muhammad and his message. And so God made the challenge easier for them. He said, okay, bring only 10 verses, which is less than a chapter. And they couldn't, because of the linguistic makeup of the Quran. And so then he said after that, he challenged them and he made it easier the challenge. He said, bring only one verse. And since then, no one's been able to bring a verse. What does this do with you all together? It proves the validity of this Prophet Muhammad, who was illiterate and wouldn't be able to come with such findings. He was illiterate. Well-known fact. You don't need to only look at Islamic texts to understand that. Well-known fact, he was illiterate. And this proves the validity of this Prophet. It more makes sense now. And so we have this concept of the hereafter we agreed on. Before that, we had the concept of God, that He is the creator and we are the creation. We have a relationship with Him. And we have this concept of consequences and what we're going to do in the hereafter. The last few things I'll say to you, just before the hereafter, we believe in the day of the raptures, or the day of judgment, as we say, in which people will be judged. Because you cannot go to the next step, which is heaven or hell, where we say the consequences are, unless you go through a judgment. And that's why it's called Day of Judgment. And so we believe once you've passed away, you will be resurrected, every single person, no matter what religion, no matter what race, no matter what ethnicity, and you will be judged. And then, as we spoke before, the consequences, you will see your consequences. The last thing I'll say to you is that there are 5 pillars of Islam. First of all is to say the testimony of faith, which is, I believe that there is only one God worthy of worship, and Prophet Muhammad is his final messenger. The second one we believe in is to pray 5 times a day, which is a process. Many Muslims don't pray 5 times a day. They need to, but as I said, everyone's on their own journey. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. We're tolerant of each other. Number 3 is you fast the month of Ramadan, which is a whole experience in itself. Number 4 is that you pay 2.5% of your wealth to the poor people who need it. Okay, and that is if you've hit a certain amount of money yourself. Yeah, if you haven't, if you're poor yourself, how can you pay for it? Yeah, and the last one is to one time in your life do the Hajj or the pilgrimage to Mecca, like the Prophet Muhammad, may peace be and praise, done himself. But the most important of them is the first one. Do you remember the first one? Which is the testimony of faith. To declare that, you know what, I believe, I'm going to say what I believe in my heart, which is there is none worthy of worship except one God, in Arabic, Allah. And that the Prophet Muhammad, who is his final messenger, which is being proved to me by the validity of the Quran and the validity of himself. And I want to say to you, God says in the Quran, أُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ هَدَاهُمُ اللَّهُ فَبِهُدَاهُمْ مُقْتَدِهِ. Those are the ones that we've guided, so follow their guidance. And so we believe in Islam that we follow the guidance, but we don't follow people. When the truth comes to you, follow it. If you know it's the truth and it's been proved to you and you have this feeling from God it's the truth, follow it. Because you don't know when this opportunity is going to come again. And we believe Islam is perfect, but Muslims aren't. We fall into mistakes. We sin all the time. Just like any people from any religion. As the Prophet Muhammad, he said, all the children of Adam are sinners, but the best of sinners are the ones who repent. Muslims aren't perfect. But Islam is. God says in the Quran, اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي. Today I have perfected your religion, O Muhammad, and I'm happy for you to practice it. So I want to ask you, Richie, what is stopping you from embracing the truth? Nothing stopping you. And so it's as simple as this. Once you start your journey of getting closer to God, you strengthen your relationship with Him by becoming Muslim, and it's a process. You don't jump in and say, "Oh, I have to, grow a bigger beard. I have to wear specific robes like I do, right?" Or, for example, I have to do everything straight away. No, it's a journey. It's a growing journey that you strengthen your relationship with God, and it's that easy. And I guarantee you, once you become Muslim, you feel this kind of ease in your chest that maybe you've been carrying for years. It's like, I found the truth, let me start my journey. And so, if you're ready, I will say the testimony of faith, the one we spoke about, and you repeat after me. We'll say it in Arabic first and a direct translation English. Yeah? You don't want to? Okay.
We fully respect your religion.
No problem. And I'm not going to force you. Because in the original Quran, the one that you believe in, God says, "La ikraha fi din." There's no compulsion in religion. It is impossible, as in religiously impossible, for me to come to you and say, you have to accept my religion. Otherwise, that's it. No, it's literally in our Quran, we cannot do that. But what I will say to you, Richie, is that once the truth has come to you, follow it. No matter what the truth is. If we identify the truth now, you follow it. We believe in this concept of Satan, Shaitan. In Arabic, exact same thing, Satan. When Satan sees any human being wanting to do good, he will do his absolute best to stop him or stop her. Why? Because he doesn't want good for us. There's a force of good, which is God and His principle and His rulings that He gives us. Then there's always a force of badness and evil, which is the Satan. And so I say to you, if you know this is the truth, follow it and overcome the Satan. As I said, it's a journey from yourself. You've got the basis that you don't believe in one God alone and Prophet Muhammad as messenger. Build on it. You're not going to rush into anything. It's a journey. And if you know the truth, now's the time to follow it. What do you think? Okay. No problem. You have the Quran, read it. That's totally yours. If you want to, is there a number at the back? Okay, you can possibly call it Islamwise, or if you want to, you can take my number and you can call me anytime. And if you have any questions, yeah?
Cheers.
All right, so you have a good day. All right, have a good day.